Welcome one, welcome all to DeFi Crypto and Airdrops. I am Mike, aka Veteran Crypto, and with me as always on Tuesdays and Fridays is Jeff, aka the Blockchain Report, and one of our special guests this evening is Taylor from our Monday show. He is a state law attorney out in McKinney, Texas. Does wills and trusts and happens to also be my brother. So welcome both of you, and let's go ahead and jump on into this. Jeff, do you want to go ahead and do the introductions?
Yes. Let me add the screen. There we go. Happy Friday, everybody, and thank you for joining us, Taylor, on a wonderful episode of DeFi Crypto and Airdrops, where me and Mike go live for a crypto and chill every Tuesday and Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Mike also has quite a few shows throughout the week. Money Talks on Mondays at 10 a.m. Pacific with Taylor and the Texas Jeff, the other Jeff. So you get 2 Jeffs a week. More traditional finance focused, but a lot of great information you can learn from those 2 guys. And of course, our Crypto and Chill Tuesday and Friday, DeFi Masterclass on Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific with David and Jake. Interviews on Thursdays, and we actually had a special showing last night, off kind of unhinged political stuff. So check that out. Yeah, we'll try and stream on other platforms with that because YouTube doesn't really like that too much. Yeah. So it was
we got throttled hard last night for some of the stuff we were talking about.
But yeah, check out our brother channels: Jake Call, Blockchain Basement, Discover Crypto, David's DeFi University. We got Gina at Twice Slice, me at the Blockchain Report, and Jake Call has a great DeFi portfolio tracker and simulator that him and David are working on adding new features to this. There is a free version for you to get started. And if you find it valuable, you can bump up to the yearly or monthly subscription services. Also, David's DeFi University is pretty much free. The only thing that's paid for is the daily live mentorships, Monday through Friday. You get 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, and it's $97 a month. So, but start with the free mastery course. It's like a 5-step program, or 6-step program. A lot is involved, and they're going to be doing an airdrop for those who complete it. So go to the DeFi University homepage and start your journey with that. And Mike and Taylor have their DeFi Wize newsletter that go out Monday through Friday, a little under $20 a month. They get the ranges set. They work on it super early in the morning to try and get it ready before the traditional finance market opens. So they've been nailing the ranges. A lot of great feedback from our users. So we also have a free Discord. All the links for these are down in the description. Discord's free, great community, a lot of good updates that we can't get to as fast on YouTube. So yeah, so check it out. Check us out on Twitter, _only_DCA. You can catch Mike at Veteran4Crypto, me at the BCR142. And we're also streaming on Pump.fun and the Arena. And the more I engage in the Arena, the more I like it. More creator focused and incentivized for creators that YouTube just can't, they're not going to be able to match long term. And you get true decentralization and no being throttled for what you say. You know, I think Matt was saying that somebody was saying some stuff that otherwise would have gotten him booted on YouTube and other platforms, but on the Arena, they don't want, they want it to be spoken truth, even if it doesn't agree with your things.
I like it. Well, shit, let me kick it over to his ear real quick. Oh, never mind. Let's go back to here. We will just do this. So, gentlemen, my question is, Taylor, I know that you've dipped into DeFi. So I haven't talked to you about it in a while because on Monday on Money Talks, usually we're talking about, kind of wealth preservation and, a little more along those, lines. But what are you doing in DeFi right now?
So like right now, of course, when things are neutral trend or bullish trend, then I keep my money in DeFi, because as long as things are kind of relatively going flat or they're going bullish. So just so people kind of understand what trend investing is what most hedge funds follow. And that is the idea that you follow when things are going good and you get out when things are going bad. Like that's the basic idea. And part of our newsletter was, I wish we would have started in October when everything went bearish.
Yeah.
It would have been so helpful for people to know, hey, the trend went bearish, you just get out. Like, don't question.
Well, because I know that you like exited most of your positions into what, stables?
Yeah, because I mean, I knew the trend had gone bearish, and so I was like, okay, well, I'm getting out, because I don't ask questions why. Even though during the time everybody's like, it's the alt season, it's the alt season. I go, well, you know, the trend, when it goes bearish, you just get out and you wait. And the idea is like, sometimes it's a head fake and it goes back up, and then, you know, you have to slowly get back in. But ultimately, if you can just follow the trend of, and it's the major trend of what's going on in the crypto world. And the thing that's interesting about crypto is actually the trend investing works a lot better. Traditional markets is a lot harder to really follow those trends, because a lot of those markets are very manipulated. If you're watching the silver market, you'll see that. But ultimately, crypto seems to follow the trend very, very well. And when it hits, it goes bearish. It will follow the bearish trend, and then once it reverses. But at the end of the day, like, the great thing about DeFi is that usually you don't get in during neutral trend. Like, you just stay out, because there's no point of investing if it's not going up, you know.
Well, unless it's DeFi.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like DeFi, you can actually make money while things are going sideways, and it's actually a very good time to get in. So
I mean, it's like, really the only downside is when it's going sideways, there's not a lot of volume, and so, you know, not as much fees, but you can do tighter ranges and stay in range longer. So it's kind of like, you just have to adjust how you're doing your DeFi depending on if it's a bearish, a bullish, or, you know, a flat market.
Yeah, because if it goes bullish trend, you want to keep that range wider to catch that upside. Because if if every single time it goes to the top end of the range because it's bullish trend and you're completely out of the market, well, usually what happens is we do those ranges, and it will usually stay in those ranges. But when you have a breakout, it just breaks out and it just goes, because they basically have liquidated out all the sellers, and most people are going to ride that trend. It was
and I really like, what are your feelings on crypto pairs? So like, Bitcoin, wrapped ETH, or, Arrow ETH, or, something like that, for if you're expecting a breakout, because usually if you get correlated pairs, they'll go up together. So they'll stay in range like longer, through more movement. Whereas if you use a stable coin and like wrapped ETH, then it's just going to, as the price of ETH goes up, there's going to be a point to where you're all in on a stable coin and you're not getting any price appreciation.
Yeah. So you go with, if both of them are bullish trend, then absolutely go with it. But you don't want to go, one's a bearish trend and one's bullish, and you're trying to catch it. Now,
well, that's what I mean by correlation is, either they're both bearish or they're both bullish. And they move, at the same rate.
Yeah, like one of like the best actually investing is if you know how to short, is actually shorting altcoins, especially about 6 months after they've launched, because usually you have that run up and you wait till the bearish trend starts and then you short it, because those things just tank. And but ultimately, if you'll watch those, you follow the trends and then just ride them. especially in a bullish trend. If two are bullish, go with the pair of them and let it run. You still have to watch it because one could be going up a lot more than the other, and you can, be all in ETH and Bitcoin has gone through the roof, and you're just sitting there holding, and it's like, well, it's like you don't want to get stuck in one, but ultimately, if you learn to follow the trend.
Well, there's really good tools out there that you can use. Like DeFi Llama has a correlation matrix that you can use that will actually, it uses all the data, the historical data from all the different altcoins and Bitcoin, things like that. And it will actually tell you how correlated like certain pairs are. You pick the pairs and it will tell you how well they move together. So it's a really good tool.
Yeah. So it's, but yeah, I mean, this year I've had a great year in DeFiing. It's like, I cannot complain at all. And anything it's done way better than the traditional market accounts that I have.
Let's see. Oh, there it is. Correlations matrix. Yeah, here I'll show you.
Sometimes you can even set wider ranges on those type of pairs too, like the key to wrapped ETH. I mean, you had a pretty wide range that and was earning even when both got crushed. I mean, you were still within range. And
well, let me see what it's doing right now. I actually have a Bitcoin one that earlier today was doing 60%. Like the past couple of days, it's been doing like 50, 60%. Let me pull that up real quick.
Yeah. And that's the other thing about DeFi is like, you make the most money when people are jumping in. And so it's it's like when things are bullish trend, you're making good money because people are buying and selling and it's actually moving. When you're kind of in this area where people have kind of got out and they're kind of waiting to see what happens, it's a lot slower, but ultimately,
oh, I was just going to say it's back down. It was a wrapped ETH Coinbase wrapped Bitcoin pair, and I was doing like 60% earlier. It's down to like 3% right now, but super wide range. I'm wanting to say it was like 78,000. Bitcoin price 78,000 to 108,000.
Okay, that's a wide range.
Yeah, I mean, nice wide range, and I was making like 50, 60%. So, and it fluctuates, but I'm sorry, you were saying, Taylor?
No, that's basically, so I know this is sometimes hard for people to understand because it seems counterintuitive, because usually you'll see a lot of people when they go invest, what they want to do is they'll see like a stock go really low and go, oh, that's a good buy. It's gone down a ton. Well, maybe it is, but also maybe it's gone down that much because the company really, really is not doing well and it is not coming back. So the idea of trend investing, and Jeff, the Texas Jeff, is launching a trend investing thing through our IRA, but ultimately he's back tested a system where you focus on trend investing with the biggest winners. So instead of buying, whatever you're going to buy, when things go bullish, you go with the thing that's gone up the most. And he's in his max plan that he's created. The returns since 2000, if you would have followed his system, he would have averaged 40% a year in traditional markets by following that philosophy of investing in winners in bullish trend, but pulling out when things go bearish. To put that in perspective, if you put $100,000,
it's always good to pull out when things get bearish.
Yeah, exactly. especially they get really grisly. But if you put $100,000 into his system that he developed back in 2000, it would be $880 million today.
So you guys back tested it or something?
Yeah, so he's recreated, but basically he's just taking Jeff. He's worked with a bunch of hedge funds before, and working with them, they won't tell you really what they do because they don't want their information out there.
Their secret formula.
But you know, you liquor up some of those guys, they start spilling some beans, and so he over the years he'd get a little information. Well, he thinks he's like, okay, this is what a couple of them are doing, so I'm gonna put these indicators in, and he built this thing out over the last 3 months, and then he ran his scenarios, and it's like it's incredible the returns that it have. But it's basically that idea: you're looking for winners and buying winners when it's bullish trend, and when they go bearish, you get out.
Got the Nancy Pelosi sauce.
Is
he going to be offering it on your guys' website or
on this? So, like, we're not putting out like any of the stuff because we're not going to spill the beans of kind of what we're doing, like how we're doing what we're doing, because it's
but if people are wanting to in like interested in talking with Jeff and stuff like that, this is how they'd find him.
Yeah, the problem is like he can invest you in the idea, he cannot talk to you about the idea. If you have under $1 million in investable assets, you just have to kind of understand, because the SEC has a rule: if you're not an accredited investor, he's not allowed to talk to you about it. He can invest you in it, but he can't talk to you.
Investor bullshit it's such bullshit. It's like, okay, you don't have a bunch of money, so you can't take advantage of these awesome opportunities that we want the rich people to be able to get in first, and then all you minions can get in.
Yeah, and people go, well, why don't big institutions do this? And the reality is they can't, because they're what we call market makers. So if you're like Fidelity, you can't develop a system that follows a trend and then all your clients you're buying and selling when things are going up or down, because when things go down, you would tank the market. So institutions that are large, so if you're going to a large institution, they only can do one thing: that's buy and hold. That's it. That's all the government will allow, which is understandable, because you don't want like Wells Fargo coming up with an idea and then going, we're going to take $1 trillion, and when things go bearish, we're going to sell all our positions. It's like you would just destroy the market doing that. So
yeah,
at a certain point, and so a lot of these hedge funds that run these ideas, it's not like they don't want to help people. It's the reality of, we can have so many people do this before we get the.
Well, it's just bullshit that they get to do it and like everybody else doesn't.
I know, it's like, and it's sad, but it's like they're saying, hey, we want the majority of people just to be, the stabilizing mechanism of the market.
Well, real quick, I wanted to show this correlations matrix. So on DeFi Llama, this is one of the tools that I talk about in episode 3 in our DeFi Academy on our channel. But there's a whole free course you can go through, but this is one of the tools. So what I was talking about before is you can look, and the closer it is to the whole number of 1, 1 would be a perfect correlation. So Bitcoin to Bitcoin, that would be a 1. ETH with ETH, that would be a 1. But if you look, Bitcoin and ETH is over the past year is a 0.75. So that's a pretty good score. Now, if you go to a month, they've been almost perfectly correlated. So, it's been a 0.96. So like we talk about being in these liquidity pools, for periods of time, the longer you can stay in range, the longer you're actually earning, because you have to be in range in a ranged pool to be actually earning yield. So Bitcoin and ETH over the past month would have been an awesome pair to be in. And that's why I got in to that ETH Bitcoin when I was talking about before, where I was earning 60% earlier today, because I'm able to do a tighter range. I didn't even do a super tight range. I mean, I told you it was like 78K to like 108K. I mean, that's a huge range for Bitcoin.
Mhm.
So anyway, I just wanted to share that. If you want to use this tool to find correlated pairs for pools that you're getting into, and then of course you can use Metrix Finance. It has a lot of really great tools in there to simulate your positions before you get into them for free. Just to see how well it will potentially perform, because obviously it's historical data. So Jeff, you were wanting to cover, where's it at? There it is. You were wanting to cover this. You hit me up earlier. What's up?
Oh yeah. So Elio Trades, he's been around for a while, created the super token and the superverse and all that. And he created the black hole exchange DEX on Avalanche. And he's launching this supernova, which is going to be exclusive to the Ethereum mainnet. So it's just like a copy of black hole, but on Ethereum. And they just launched their testnet yesterday, I think. So I did the testnet for black hole, and testnet users didn't get shit, but people who had liquidity on base and stuff did get the airdrop, because you got some of the airdrop, and so did I.
For black hole.
Yeah.
Because it's a VE33 platform, and so if you had arrow locks, you got a black hole token.
Yeah, so I believe if they're following the same model, you could potentially be up for an airdrop when this launches. Now, I don't know how far into the future that will be. I mean, probably within the next month or two. But be on the lookout, because I mean, we didn't even know that we were eligible until it launched for the black hole airdrop. And
I knew nothing about it. I think you're the one that told me about it, and I went and I had like $1,000 worth of freaking black hole token.
Yeah. So now the black hole token's pretty much in the shitter, but we were able to earn off of it pretty good with the full range pool for a while. So
I stacked my arrow bags with it.
Yeah. Reallocating that into something a bit better, especially with that merger they're having in Q2. So yeah, this is something to keep an eye out. I'm still going to do the testnet and see if they're going to qualify people for it. But if you want any chance, if they're going to follow the same model, I would be getting into some DeFi liquidity pools, at least on base. That's what was one of the qualifiers last time.
Did it pay out if you had liquidity pools or just locks? I think it was just locks.
No, because I don't. Okay, yeah, I'll go back and check, but I could be wrong.
I could be wrong.
But okay, yeah, I'll double check that, and we'll get an update in the Discord. So
there you go.
The Discord and stay up on the latest.
So I want to touch on this real quick. So I found this, and I want to give a shout out to this gentleman, Cypher X. He has some really great content. I've actually been watching him for years. He's a military vet as well. I believe he was in the Army, and was watching his show today and ran across, he was talking about Canton Network. And those of you in our community know I've been looking for somewhere to earn with my Canton for a while now, ever since we first got a hold of the token. Haven't seen any good liquidity pools. However, I did find this BRON wallet, and you can download the wallet, and you need about $1,400 or $1,500 to do this, because you need 10,000 Canton coin CC, and you need to be able to swap within the BRON wallet for the BRON token, which you need 10,000 of. So you need about $700 of each is what it comes out to. Taylor just did this earlier today, and I did it earlier today. So the way that it works is you deposit it and then you opt in. And what it does, in my understanding so far, is the BRON wallet doesn't have, other than custodying it, it doesn't have any real part in this. So the Canton Foundation, or the Canton Network, they're using the tokens in a way, and we're going to be having an interview on January 20th with one of the co-founders, Shal Kafur, who is also the COO. And I'm going to ask him about this. But they're using your Canton in a way to where you earn yield on it to the tune of 30% per month. So for the $1,500 that I have in there, I'm going to be making, if it keeps up what it's been doing, which I think it will, because the network adoption has been increasing, steadily, and it's earning 30% per month. So that's 360% per year, 30 times 12, do the math. So it seems to be pretty steady, because looking back over the past weeks, it's, stayed pretty consistent. So I'm going to stay in here and I'll keep reporting on it, on how it performs. But I've been really impressed so far with this BRON wallet. And I did a little bit of my own due diligence. Obviously you don't want to be depositing a bunch of liquidity into a sketchy, platform. But I saw that a lot of the C-suite individuals at Canton Network were actually following them on X and had interacted with them. So it's, do with that as you will, but it seems to be reputable. And so I'm going to try it out. That's kind of what this channel is about, is I test things out and give you a review on how well it works for me, DEXs and, different projects and wallets and things like that in DeFi. So what do you think so far on it, Taylor?
Yeah, so I just put it in. I mean, you have to have some understanding of how everything works. It's it isn't like, as easy as other platforms getting money on. But I really like some of their stuff that they have on here. I've been kind of like looking around. I like this idea that they have guardians. Actually, Myke, I'm going to send you to be one of my guardians.
I was actually forgot to ask you that when we were talking earlier. That's initially why I messaged you. I was like, hey, do you mind if I put your email in here so that I can make you one of my guardians?
Yeah.
You have to have two, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't use a seed phrase. So for recovery, what they do is you can request, like if you lost access, you can request access and it will email your guardians and, separately. And then each one of those have to give you like a portion of, of something, some sort of key that gives you access back. So it takes two people. It's in the military, they call it TPI, or two-person integrity. So yeah, you were saying, Taylor, go ahead.
Yeah, it's I think that's a really good idea, because it's one of the issues of crypto is like, well, what if you lose that phrase? Because I've lost money that way, because I set things up that I didn't understand what I was doing when I first started.
We've all done it. It's we call it the price of your education. It's
yeah.
I've sent money to like the Genesis address of different projects. Like I had a bunch of Matic, send it to the wrong address, and it basically goes into oblivion. It's basically burnt. Yeah. And so I've done that before, and it's terrible.
Yeah.
Well, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, it's a sickening feeling when you realize, I really effed up this.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's go through some of this literature real quick. So this is the BRON with the Canton BRON rewards that we were just talking about. So this says Canton coin is the native utility token of Canton Network, an infrastructure designed to bring real-world asset tokenization into always on on-chain capital markets. Let's skip down a little bit here. Depending on the activity on the network, Canton Network may mint new CC tokens as part of its protocol level tokenomics and distribute them to eligible participants who generated activity on the network. That's the validators and things like that. The size of the rewards and the rules for their distribution among participants are determined by the Canton Foundation. That's what I was talking about a few minutes ago. BRON has no influence over this process. BRON does not guarantee any specific level of rewards and is not responsible for the amount, timing, or continuation of rewards distributed by the Canton Foundation. That's what I was talking about. They're just the wallet. They're just the custodian. Canton Foundation is the one that is actually, pulling the levers on this. BRON, based on the total rewards issued to participants in the BRON Canton Rewards Program, distributes the rewards as it receives from the Canton Foundation. Rewards are not guaranteed. This rewards program is not an investment product, does not constitute financial advice, and should not be interpreted as an expectation of future profit. That's their legal disclaimer. So it just talks about to participate. Then you have to activate a BRON plan, which is $20 a month, or if you buy the swap for the 10,000 BRON tokens, then you can you'll be holding the BRON token. That it allows you to participate as well. Hold BRON and Canton in your BRON wallet. Once you have enough BRON and Canton, you can join the rewards program directly from the interface. And I'll actually show you that real quick. So basically, when you're in the wallet, you click on the Canton coin, and it will say Canton BRON rewards. You can see I'm already participating, so I don't want to stop participating, but it will say start participating, and you click on that, and basically you'll be enrolled and you'll start earning.
And so in there, have you already earned $7? Is that what it's saying?
Oh, did I?
Well, it says your share, $7.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it looks like I must have already earned some. So this is like part of a 24-hour period, I guess. Oh, good eye, man. Fucking Taylor with the eagle eye. Yeah. All right. So available.
I can always see where we're making money.
Oh, yeah. Taylor's like a bloodhound when it comes to money. It's like you can have a dollar in your pocket and walk in and be like, "What's that? What was that?"
I can get at least $3,000 out of these people.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So the available tiers. So basically, it doesn't matter. Like if you have 15,000 CC and 15,000 BRON, you're still going to earn the same tier as somebody with 10,000 CC and 10,000 BRON. So the only 4 tiers, and actually, you know what? Let's see if I can find that real quick. Shit, I'll have to find that here in a bit. But basically, these are the tiers: 1 million of each, 500K of each, 100,000 of each, and the like I said, the lowest tier is 10,000 of each. So about $1,400 at current valuation. So, let's see. Holding larger amounts places you in a higher tier, unlocking higher tier-based rewards and tier-specific bonuses. You may participate in only one rewards tier per workspace. So when you create the wallet, you create a workspace. So you'd have to create separate wallets to be able to participate in multiple. So like if you had 1 million, then you'd have to create a whole nother wallet and do another 1 million in there to multiply. Your CC and BRON balances are checked once per day to determine eligibility for that day's distribution. So again, I got a partial day distribution, it looks like. If eligible, your rewards are credited to your Canton address once per day. No manual claim action is required. This is all automated. Rewards are calculated only for the exact tier amount. If your balance exceeds the tier threshold, they're still calculated based on the previous one. So if by earning rewards, you go to the next tier, then you're going to get the old tier until the next 24-hour period. Then you'll get the new tier. Oh, and there's no lock, so there's no cool off period. If you ever want to pull out your CC or pull out your BRON token, you can do it at any time. So that's important to know as well. That's about all I got on that.
And if you don't have the 10,000 BRON, it is $20 a month for the subscription.
And I actually did both. So I'm actually earning on the BRON Canton. And then I also got the basic plan. And see, I already earned 75 cents, it looks like. And I just did this a couple hours ago. I paid $20. And according to them, I earned $25 a month for the participating in the fiat billing. So I'm earning basically like a free, it's paying my subscription plus some. So I'm earning on both. Again, I'm gonna let you know kind of what I see and what I find out on that. And so good find, Jeff.
Jeff,
All
you're
right.
the one that found this?
What's that?
Who found? I thought you heard it from that guy online.
Yeah. No, I heard about it from this Cyper X is what he calls himself. But again, he's built. I've watched him over the past couple of years. He just started a couple of years ago, but built a great community over there. So yeah, I mean, definitely one of those to follow. And the guy, just from what I've vibe that I've gotten off of him, very much like I am, very much about integrity and making sure that he's putting good content out there, not shilling stuff. Just he does talk a lot about XRP, but I won't hold it against him. But yeah, he seems like he puts out really, really good content. So I just like to give credit where credit's due. He's the one that turned me on to BRON, so I'm turning you all on to it. All right. What do you got, Jeff? I'm gonna see if I can look up these tiers and the bonuses you get for going up in tier.
And I was gonna say that I was actually looking at some of these wallets yesterday because Canton. I know that you asked recently about any wallets that might be able to use or take Canton, and I just went looking around yesterday and BRON was one of them that I signed up for. So it was funny that today you found that guy or came across that dude and talking about the BRON wallet and stuff. So it's like we're in sync, it's like we're synced our cycles.
Oh man, no homo.
No. our crypto cycles are
all right, let's see.
But yeah, there are other wallets that are integrating with Canton, but some of them aren't available yet. There's one, but you have to request access from the team to create a wallet and stuff. But I think there's 8 different wallets. 2, 4, 6. Yeah, 8 different wallets, but most of them aren't ready yet. But they are coming. Exchanges, Kraken, Bybit, Gate, KuCoin, and MXC, but you don't want to keep them on exchanges. So there's that. Especially if you're in California with the new law that they're passing, where if it's 2 or 3 years of inactivity on an exchange, they can take your Bitcoin.
Oh yeah, it's like if it's inactive for 3 years or something like that.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm tripping out a little bit about this. Let me see.
Hey,
yeah.
that
$8 is it's I mean, even like a partial day, just a couple of hours. I mean, 8 times 30, I made about $8. 8 times 30 is like $240. So yeah, I mean, the math is mathing. What it told me whenever, at current rates is I'd be making $640 a month off of, my deposit. So and this is going to be like the arrow locks. The more people that do this, there's only so many tokens that are being distributed to people doing this. So the more people that are doing it, the less you're going to make. It's just like the locks. So
when you get that,
why are we telling other people about this, Michael?
I know, man. I know. I need to stop that shit. It's like,
we're hitting ourselves in the wall here.
Oh, dude, I'm telling you, it's like it's painful because like I actually pay to do this channel, and then I'm like giving away all the good info to where I'm like hurting where I'm earning.
Oh man. Oh, who was it? Mark just said in the chat. Oh, the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, the first one. Oh, classic Tony just loaded 150,000 CC, then swapped 50,000 for 100K BRON tokens. So that's,
dude,
I think what, it's a 7K threshold.
Well, he'll be at the 100K threshold.
Yeah, the pro.
Hold on, let me finish looking that up.
So you get up to 10
and
accounts.
there's additional bonuses too. Like 15%, 20%, something like that. So I'm trying to pull it up. Here we go.
Damn, that's crazy.
Damn it. Tier-based rewards. Oh, here we go. Tier threshold. Let me click on that. Oh, here we go. No lock required. Tier threshold. Oh, it's not giving it. Keep going. I'll dig for it. It's got to be in here somewhere.
Yeah, they got the Enterprise, 1 million BRON, and then Founders Club hold at least 3 million, which is like 211K. But that's cool that they have these different features, and you get different percentages as you go up. What's this club access?
I wish it would show it again because now that I'm participating, it's not showing it. But before it was what was it was showing? I'm wanting to say, I mean, there were some of them like those higher tiers, it was like $6,000. You know, it was like $6,000 that you were making a month. I mean, it was juicy.
Oh,
so, you know, classic Tony, freaking, you know, he's probably going to be making a couple of grand a month or something. You know, go ahead and type it in the chat if you remember what it was, man.
Yeah,
is there something unique with the burn that Canton has? I thought I had heard something about how they burn tokens or don't. Yes. So again, we're going to be doing an interview with the COO of Canton in January, but reading up on the documentation, the way that the tokenomics work is there is a burn mint mechanism. There is an infinite number of Canton tokens that can be minted. However, that is offset with a burn mechanism, and the fees are burned. So the more usage the network gets and the more Canton that's being used, the more that's being burned. And then the opposite of that, there is halvings like that just happened to where there's less rewards being given out to the validators and the super validators. So those two, you know, levers together doesn't make it deflationary, but it can reach a point of equilibrium and potentially become deflationary. Right now it's inflationary because it's new, but there is constantly the DTCC, you know, JP Morgan Chase. There's a bunch of huge institutions that are onboarding. Actually, I'll show you that real quick. So as you can see here, the daily fees that are being generated right now, this is daily fees. And I've seen it as high as $1 million that Canton, you know, that people are paying to use the Canton network. That is a massive amount of fees per day. There's 653 validators and 40 super validators. So there's like, you know, as of today, there was $800,000 worth of Canton burned. So
Shit.
it kind of gives you an idea of how the tokenomics work. Did that make sense?
Yeah. Well, what do you think is going to happen when more institution, because this is more institutional based network,
Yes.
kind of like XRP was designed to do. Now that's going to be heavy volume. I mean, it's going to dwarf whatever retail can bring in. So how much do you think that's going to accelerate that burn too?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's the way it was designed. Like they purposely designed it for the more network usage that occurs, then the more tokens that are burned. So, it's just, that's the, how the burn mechanism is meant to work.
So, Mike, explain how you get Canton coins, because that's something I didn't understand.
So Canton is easy enough. That one you can go to Kraken. There's a couple other exchanges you can go to, but Kraken is the best US based one that I found. Let me actually go to here real quick. So here's CoinMarketCap and Canton, and then you can go to centralized exchanges. And so Bybit, Gate.io, KuCoin, MEXC, Kraken are your best bets. That's where you're going to have the deepest liquidity. So I bought it there, and I've had it there for, since it launched, and I've been looking for some place to put it, and I found this today. So that's what I'm doing with it. But again, the BRON token, the only place I was able to get the BRON token so that I could, get into this and start earning, was actually, it's a little dance you have to do. You have to get USDC on ETH mainnet and send it to your BRON token. Then you have to make sure that you send some ETH on ETH mainnet over to your BRON token for gas. Then you use that gas to swap the USDC on ETH mainnet over into the BRON token. So then you have Canton, you have BRON, and you have some gas, the ETH on ETH mainnet, and then you can participate in the, in this.
Simple.
That makes sense. Yeah, it's just that simple. Bing, bang, boom, you're done.
Right?
No big deal. No big deal.
Maybe you could do a video and show people how to do it.
Yeah. I was thinking about that while I was doing it. Shit. I mean, I don't know. Maybe if Jeff ends up doing it or something like that, we can use him as a guinea pig.
Yeah, I'll do it.
All right. So yeah, we'll do that. Like maybe a next show, like on Tuesday, we'll do that.
What exchange did you use?
I use Kraken.
Kraken. Okay.
Oh, Elise, and just like that, I got confused.
Yeah, no, I start talking about this stuff. Sometimes I'm like, yeah,
oh, dude.
One of my favorite.
You should listen to some of these other people. Freaking, they like David, like listening to David, on Wednesday, him talking about advanced strategies. I'm like, dude, you're like speaking Latin or something, because I have no clue what you're talking about. Like, I try to simplify it.
Yeah, and it's much easier to show like through actually doing it. That's what I had to do with my aunt and uncle, and show them how I move crypto from the exchange, or buy crypto, move it to my wallet, and then put it on these into a liquidity pool, and showing them like, okay, this is how you do this, and this is what a liquidity pool is. And I'm essentially providing a service like a bank, and just breaking it down in more simple terms. And because I'm a very visual learner anyways, and have to be hands-on, because if you just tell me and I can't see it, it's just like,
well, gone. You know what, real quick, I'll give people an idea. So basically you set up the wallet, and we'll do that part, the wallet setup, on Tuesday when Jeff does it. So don't do it yet, Jeff. We'll walk people through it. But yeah, save that for the live. But once it's set up, it was relatively easy. We'll show you how to do it. But what you do is, just like you do on any other wallet, is you deposit. So basically you deposit, and in this case, from my Kraken account, I wanted to deposit Canton coin. So I came down here, found it, clicked on it, and it gives you your address, and tells you the address to send it to. I always suggest doing a test transaction, of a small amount to make sure it gets there. You simply copy that, paste it over on your Kraken account, or wherever else, that where you want to send it, and that's where it's going to send it to. So, in a nutshell, that's what you end up. You end up with Canton, on here. Now, again, you need USDC on ETH mainnet. So again, you need to get it on an exchange or something like that. And same thing, you're wanting to deposit, you come down to USDC on ETH mainnet, gives you your address to receive it to. And again, you send that USDC to your wallet. And then of course, once that USDC is done, you need that gas. So you need some ETH on ETH mainnet. Do the same thing. Just find that asset, click on it. It will tell you the address to send it to. Then you have to swap. So that's when you need the BRON app. And you'll have to download and then you install it. But anyway, that's how you end up doing the swap. But I just kind of wanted to give you guys an idea of, just kind of how to maneuver around, doing that process. But we'll show it live with actual, money and, the wallet setup portion on, on Tuesday.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm looking at this Canton billing rewards from the tab on the right side where it says rewards and estimated monthly rewards per participant. The basic plan. So it's $20 a month for the basic plan, but estimated rewards are $25. And the pro plan is $200 a month, but estimated rewards are $220. And enterprise is $2,000, but it's $2,200 for the reward. So, I mean, it's essentially paying for itself.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's, like I said, that's kind of why I did it. Is it's an extra $5 a month of free Canton, free CC.
An asset that can appreciate.
Well, and I used my Bitcoin card, so I'm earning 2% Bitcoin every time they bill me. So on $20,
triple,
so like,
triple dipping.
What is that, like 40 cents? I get 40 cents of Bitcoin a month. I'll tell you, it adds up though. Doing all my groceries and putting all my bills and all the stuff for the channel. I put it all on the Bitcoin card, and I'm making like a couple $100 a month in free Bitcoin.
Yeah. Hey, 14, 15 years ago, that 40 cents of Bitcoin would get you a millionaire right now.
No shit, right? So no, I'm stacking a couple extra $100 of Bitcoin every month, just spending money that I was already spending, gas and groceries and, memberships and, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. What is the Bitcoin card?
Oh, it's just the Coinbase, on Coinbase, you can get a Coinbase debit card or a credit card, and you can earn, depending on how much you have on your Coinbase account, you can earn 2%, 3%, or 4%. But 4%, you need like $250,000 on there. I don't got that on Coinbase.
That's you have to be a Coinbase One member, right?
Yeah.
So and it's like $30 or $40 a month.
Last I looked, it was 30.
Okay.
But again, that earns me, earns me 2%.
US
Bitcoin.
US only, by the way.
Yeah.
For those, yeah.
Walked into the lion's den. Thoughts on XRP.
Oh, no.
I'm going to go fill my water, Jeff. Do you want to take this one?
Well, I mean, they were talking about it on the Discover Crypto show the other day. It could go to $5, $6, but I mean, we've talked about XRP a lot, especially Myke. He's in people's comments all the time on X, and it's it's not the Ripple. I think they were saying on CNBC or something that it was formerly the Ripple token, which it's not.
Yeah, I saw that.
But I mean, why would they keep selling their tokens every month. The Ripple
If it was
Foundation.
going to $589.
$500,000 and all that shit.
Well, Aaron, I'll give you my elevator pitch on the pros and in my opinion, pros and cons of XRP.
And most of it lives on the XRPL is on Ethereum.
Yeah. So when it comes to XRP, it's a great token to trade. If you're a day trader, scalp trader, something like that, there's a lot of volatility. There's a lot of movement. There's a lot of hype. It's all over social media. It gets a lot of attention, a lot of mind share. Great to trade. Long-term hold, personally, I would only hold a small moon bag in case it does do something crazy, which I don't think is going to happen. And I'm going to give the reason why. I get a lot of heat for this, but I had 40,000 XRP that I bought back when it was 30 cents. And when it pumped, I sold it. It's just, a lot changed. So Ripple, the company, they have a huge escrow of XRP. Every month, 1 billion tokens are unlocked. Often they sell a lot of it. That's how they fund operations. That's how they buy all these companies that they're buying. They're trying to become a bank. So they've been gobbling up all these different companies that do different functionalities for, the movement of value, things like that. And I'm sure it's, they have these office buildings in New York and, San Francisco, and I think they have one in the UK. And so they have all the employees they have to pay, all the operations. So the way that they do that, because they don't have a whole lot of people using the XRPL, the XRP ledger right now, paying them. So the way that they are funded is by selling XRP. XRP used to be for the most part, the only token on the XRPL. That has changed. They came out with RLUSD, which is why I sold XRP. The whole thesis on XRP was it was going to be used to move value, cross-border payments, all of that jazz that you're always hearing about. The problem is with RLUSD, because banks and institutions didn't want to use a volatile asset to move value. If you try to send $1 billion from cross borders and the price of XRP fluctuates by 1%, if you send $1 billion, that's a loss. If XRP goes down 1%, that's a loss of $10 million. They're not just going to say, oh, don't worry about that $10 million, but that's lost money. So they needed a stable coin. They came out with RLUSD. The whole reason that everyone was saying that XRP was going to a large number is because the amount of liquidity, the amount of value that moves in cross-border payments daily. That, basically an XRP had to be, $100, $1,000, whatever, to move that volume of value. With RLUSD, that's no longer the case. They can just they can mint as long as it's backed 1-to-1 with the US dollar or US dollar equivalent, because of the Genius Act, that was passed and signed into law by Trump. For a stable coin to be compliant, it has to be backed 1-to-1 with the US dollar or US dollar equivalent. So RLUSD falls in that category because they want to be compliant in the US. So that is what is going to be used to move value. Therefore, the only thing that XRP is going to be used for is gas. The gas only costs 0.00001 XRP that gets burned. So it's very, very cheap gas. So there is no reason for XRP to be a high valuation. There's no logical reason. I've challenged people to come on the show that are XRP maxis, come on the show and explain to me with, the tokenomics, logic, reason, how this could how XRP would need to be a high valuation. And they just say that I'm fudding XRP and won't come on the show. So, do with that as you will. But like Jeff was saying, the 60% of the RLUSD stablecoin is on ETH mainnet and not even being used on the XRPL. So the value being moved, Ripple isn't even, for the most part, using the XRPL to move its own stablecoin. They're using Ethereum.
But they do pay a lot of people online to push it.
They do.
Have you seen anything to where like that can be like verified? Because I've thought that for a long time.
There's just no way that there's that many people that would spend that much time just constantly talking about that one coin.
Well, maybe what they're doing is getting more people to use the XRPL, and they're capturing that value and moving it to Ethereum or RLUSD, and they're getting more incentives to use the Ethereum network than their own. So they're kind of luring people in, extracting that value, moving it to Ethereum, and bam, they're making a killing.
Well, I need to address this, and I say this with love, Mr. Menakis, is people need to learn to differentiate between something that's bullish for Ripple and something that's bullish for XRP. Like this. This is, yes, I'm very bullish on Ripple. Ripple's going to become a bank. They're going to do all kinds of great things. That does not necessarily translate to XRP price go up, other than, like Taylor was just talking about, all the people hyping it up and talking about it and getting retail to get emotional about it and FOMO in and buy it and drive the price up. That is why I'm saying trade it, don't hold it long term, because all it takes is people to realize that Ripple's success, there was a whole lawsuit about this, where the SEC was suing Ripple because they sold XRP as a security. The Judge Torres came out and said, XRP is not a security. That wasn't necessarily good for token holders, because if XRP was a security, it would technically be a stock of Ripple. Is that correct, Taylor?
Yeah. So it's very important that people understand this difference. Like when you go buy a stock, theoretically, you're an owner of the company, and under the law, the people who run the company have a fiduciary duty to you, meaning they have to do what's in your best interest. In other words, produce profits. If they don't, then they, they can be removed. They can be sued, in some circumstances. You can go to jail for that. But crypto is not a security. That means you don't own anything. It's purely just this speculation. So when you're going to invest, this is the problem with altcoins right now. Altcoins are worthless because they give you nothing unless there's some contractual relationship. I believe like Arrow has it in their like bylaws that when you're buying, when you buy,
they do buybacks, and they max lock and stuff like that, and to help with making it deflationary.
But they can change those rules at any time, and so that's one of the big problems with everything. Is like it's the Wild West with crypto right now, in the sense of when you're getting into it, they have to show to you if you're going to buy this. Like if XRP is going to make these claims, these wild claims that all these people are going to be using it, and then we're going to make all this money and it's just going to shoot through the roof. Well, you have to show how that works. And Michael has repeatedly tried to explain to people that he's looked into it, and no one has been able to, give him like, hey, you're just not understanding how it really works. Yeah. You need to go here to go to this website, and you can see from their own website that they're explaining it. It just doesn't produce money. There's no way that it's going to make you anything.
No.
But this is like in all honesty, like, why does Ethereum still have value even though we have all these other altcoins? Because like what we were explaining earlier, when you go to BRON and you want to now move money, you have to have Ethereum to do that. So it forces people to buy it in order for us to
use the network
to do things. There's a logical reason why Ethereum is going to have value, as long as that is the network most people are going to be using. XRP, there's nothing like that. It doesn't work that way.
It's too cheap of gas fees. So So this one here, if they have over 40% of XRP on escrow, if Ripple value increases, you see where I'm going with this. That just solidifies what Taylor was talking about, where they have 40% on escrow. They want Ripple price to go up because that makes their nest egg value go up. So it would incentivize them, because it's not a security, to incentivize, influencers to hype it up to make the price go up so they can sell their billion tokens a month at at $3 or $4 instead of 30 cents. You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah. So think of it in that logic, like, okay, let's say nobody's online hyping XRP. Can the company make money? And if the company is making money, are they forced to somehow increase the value of the XRP token? No, they can literally take 100% of the profits and pay it all to the employees and give you nothing. There's no legal responsibility to have. Apple can't do that. Apple, if they sell and they make profits, they either have to put it back into the company to grow the company to make more profits, or they have to give that money to the shareholders
in the form of dividends.
Or they do buybacks of shares to drive up the value. Ripple doesn't have any of those requirements, and so you're trusting whoever these guys are that are sitting around buying these banks right now, that out of the kindness of their heart, they want to make you rich.
And buybacks have seemed to be the way most of those companies have been going over the years.
That's what Arrow's doing is with the buybacks.
But that's the thing, is XRP can just print more coins like crazy, where Apple just can't put out shares. They have to go to a board. And
there is a limited supply, but there's a lot of XRP.
Oh, okay. So it does limit it eventually.
Yeah. There's a limited supply. Hold on, I'll pull it up.
How far are they from it, though?
I forget exactly how many.
But with all things,
total supply is just shy of 100 billion XRP.
And what's in circulation?
In circulation,
and that's 10. What that is?
They're all in circulation. Or circulating supply is 60 billion.
And a fraction of one gets burned for every transaction.
Yeah, 0.00001 XRP gets burned.
And you could also send it to a bad address that can get lost, but that's not likely to lose.
Wait, I thought the government was going to buy mine back for $1,000 a piece. That's one of the things that influencers were saying for a while. And then,
but like think about it. What if you were on Ripple? You were one of the head guys running this company. It's like, why wouldn't you just go, well, I'm going to get this money, and why would he give it to you? Like, oh, I want the coin to go up more. Why? Like,
I said, the only incentive they have for the token to go up is so that they can sell their escrow tokens at a higher valuation. But how long is that going to last?
Well, here's another way to look at it. Don't listen to what people say. Look at what people
watch what they do. Yeah.
Ripple, are they taking their money and trying to improve the value of the coin, or are they buying real world assets? They don't even believe in their own coin. If you're taking your money buying banks and other financial institutions, you believe in real world assets. You don't believe in your coin, or they have no idea how to improve the value.
Do you want to take this question, Taylor?
What? I'll flip the argument. What will happen to Bitcoin mining when the quantum computing comes out? And so this is a great thing. There's a huge problem in it, but it's not just with crypto.
Yeah, everything would be fucked.
Everything. And so you're exactly 100% right on. Is it a legitimate fear? You get some place like Korea, North Korea, that gets a quantum computer and starts hacking everything, but your bank accounts are going to be wiped out. It will be
missile systems, like anything that's on the interwebs, anything that's connected, a quantum computer is going to be able to hack it. So crypto and Bitcoin will be the worst, the least of our worries.
yeah, it's like, well, you know, what if, you know, someone launches a nuclear weapon? Well, none of this matters. But ultimately, you got to realize, like, XRP could go to the moon. We're not trying to tell you, like, hey, don't, if you don't believe in it. But the reality is, money is based off of human beliefs in it. Mm-hmm. You know, the reason why, the reason why the dollar has lost so much value is because people are losing faith around the world in the dollar. You know, and it's like, well, if you really believe in XRP, then go invest in it.
Yeah.
You know, and if enough people do, it will hold the value and it will keep growing in value. I mean, Bitcoin, the only reason it holds any value is because people believe it does.
Yeah.
You know, it's, once again, it's not like there is nothing behind Bitcoin, like a company producing anything. It's just really a place to store value and hold it. And the reason why people believe in it is because there's no person behind it that can create more of it to devalue your asset. And really, it holds value because we don't trust people. That's really how it works. And so,
well, and that's the whole basis of Bitcoin. The whole thesis behind it is, you know, that governments, you know, that, you know, in the 2008 crisis is when, you know, Bitcoin was created. It's, you know, because people, you know, whoever, you know, Satoshi Nakamoto, you know, he, they, she, whatever, you know, it's, well, you know, it could be a group. It could be a group of people, you know, you don't know. So, basically they came up with it because there's a limited supply. It, you know, it's decentralized, so no government controls it. And it's, you know, basically is, you know, as long as it's adopted, like Taylor's talking about, then, you know, it has value. Gold, the only reason it has value, I mean, it's not really used for much, electronics and jewelry for the most part, but it's just people believe that it's valuable. You know, diamonds aren't rare. The De Beers just buys them all up and makes people believe that they're rare and special, you know, for their marketing. And that's what makes diamonds valuable. There's diamonds all over the place.
Yeah, they created that narrative a long time ago with the diamonds, and
a diamond is forever.
Yeah.
You know, just all that marketing stuff.
Well, and that's like right now, if you want to buy something that in the real world has a lot of value, it's silver, because with technology now, we talked about it. I think it was on our last one about Samsung's new battery requirement, and like there's not enough silver in the world for the new technology that's coming out. And so if you look at silver, it's shooting through the roof because there isn't enough of it. And so, you know, if you're going to put your money somewhere, you know, if you don't have very much, it's more safe to go with silver right now, even though it's, you know, at its all-time highs. Because still projections, it's way behind what it would have to be at in order for us to actually use it in the real world. But that's the reality is like, you know, most of these crypto projects are crap. They're worthless. They are tech guys that come up with an idea that in 2 years, someone else is going to come up with something better. And so,
like the .com boom, everybody with the .com had big valuations, and then it just poof, up in smoke.
yeah, AI companies. So that's like the problem with AI right now is none of these AI companies are profitable.
Yeah.
You know, and so there's eventually a point when a reality needs to hit of, yeah, AI is going to be valuable. But if you remember during the .com bubble, the investment was in things like AOL.com. Well, none of those companies made money. It was the end applications that made the money. Like once the infrastructure was built, the things that were built on them. And so like, that's one of the worries of the market right now.
Like Google, Amazon, you know, things like that.
Yeah. It's in the world, is something actually causing a change that's beneficial to society? When you see a crypto and you see actual real world people using it and it's making life simpler, put your money in it, because that's
Amazon is the perfect example of that. Google, Windows, Microsoft. It's what Taylor's talking about. It's called a pain point. If something addresses a pain point, like the car, the car was invented because, it's taking care of horses and carriages and, just, all that. It's nice to be able to jump in a vehicle, turn a key, and off you go. It made life easier. Google, before that, you had to know the complicated web address and you had to know that a website existed. Google made it to where you could find very easily. You type in what you're looking for, travel or a flight, boom, there you go. You got it. If you wanted to use a computer, you used to have to be able to know code. Windows made it to where you could double click on a little icon and it did all the coding for you and brought up those applications and, and did all of the different things that you want to do by a simple click.
You could buy your drugs without the government knowing. All right.
Exactly. If you want heroin or a hooker, boom.
Yeah.
A little bit of Bitcoin, or a $1 million pizza, whatever,
Yeah, exactly. So, but it's this problem that I really have I really feel bad for people because they're investing so much. So they pay all these people to hype up a new project. And I'm like, okay, you made it a little faster, but it works in the little crypto world. But when you see, the regular person that doesn't understand crypto and you have to spend 20 minutes explaining something, well, it's like, well, eventually we're going to have the reality hit in those moments of what are you actually like. Myke spends a lot of time trying to find projects that are trying to solve real world problems like Canton. He talks a lot about it. We were really hoping Plume was going to be this great thing. Maybe it will be, but like it's just dragging along. But they're really trying to go, okay, how do we make this crypto work in the real world?
Mm-hmm.
And
absolutely. And that's something I've been saying for a while, is that crypto, for the most part, up until, this past year, really has been pure speculation. Like Taylor was talking about, it's, basically just people saying, I hope the price goes up. It was all, whatever got the attention. It was the metaverse for a while. It was AI for a while. It was meme coins. It's just, whatever the hot narrative was. We had perps dexes for a while. We are moving over into a utility base. That was a speculation market. That was retail. That was emotion. We're moving into a utility market that is going to be driven by institutions, by banks, by governments. And what they want to see is what Taylor's talking about. He's a business owner. He understands this, that they need to generate revenue. They need to make a profit. And by making a profit, the tokenomics of the token needs to have something in place to where somehow those profits make their way back to token holders through buybacks and burns and, things like that. Like that's why I'm bullish on Airdrop, is all of the fees are either paid out to VE Arrow locks, like what I have and, some of us have to earn. And whatever isn't paid out is max locked. And they just, keep max locking it. So that keeps that out of circulation. It means it's not being dumped on the market. Now, if they were taking all that excess and constantly selling it, the price of Arrow would just tank because, but they're not able to do that because the way that the way that the chain works, the way that the platform Airdrop works, it's all automated. So it's only going to get better here in Q2 when the new platform comes out. But that being said, that doesn't mean that Airdrop's going to go to $10,000 or anything. It's gone to about $2.20. I don't do price predictions or anything, but I've seen a lot of people talking about $5, $6. I think that's very reasonable. So that's just kind of my 2 cents, but yeah, we can go ahead and start wrapping this up.
The quantum computing thing, I wanted to bring up real quick or touch back on, because there are ways. I know Michael Saylor and some other people have talked about there are ways to implement certain or new algorithms that are being developed into the
to make it quantum resistant.
To make them quantum resistant. There's a project in the testnet phase right now that I'm farming is OPNet, and they have this quantum resistance feature implemented already. So how that's going to play out when things actually do come to fruition, I don't know, but you can always, do what you can to prepare and, hope for the best, but prepare for the worst.
Yeah.
So there are possibilities, but yeah, like Taylor was saying, if Bitcoin's not it's going to be the least of your worries if they do crack it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why I got physical gold and silver and, ammo and all that kind of stuff. Cause I like to cover all my bases.
Yeah.
What do we got here? Microsoft and Google are way too advanced for quantum computing. I think the U.S. government will intervene on this. With quantum computing, with the way that they're describing quantum computing, there's not going to be a whole lot that's going to be able to stop it. It's just way too powerful. But yeah, we'll see. Taylor, you got any closing thoughts?
I think it's just when people are in this situation of like, should I be in crypto or should not? Like, I really put it in. If you want to invest, the best idea that you can do is invest your money in things that you believe in, because really the worst thing about investing is fear. People are so adverse to loss. And every time that I have, made a decision because I was fearful that the market was going down or whatever, that's where I've lost all my money. When I get into something and I believe in it and I'm like, you know what, I'm willing to take the loss because I really like this company. I really believe in it.
Yeah.
Or crypto. I really like this project. I'm going to put my money in it. If I lose, okay, because I believed in it. If you get along those lines, and then if you're not following like a system, investing is going to become a lot more enjoyable for you, because it's like, it no longer becomes about, well, how much is the asset worth right now? It becomes like, this is something I believe in. This is an idea that I think is a great idea. Like when Myke first talked to me about DeFi, I was like, okay, whatever, you're freaking weird as shit. I can't believe you're like nonstop talking about this. But when I got into it and I learned what it was, I'm like, hey, this is something that's awesome. I want it to be successful. And that's why I like investing in it. Mm-hmm. Like, I like this idea that us regular guys get paid the fees, when you're using our tokens. This is a great idea. Like, I want it to be successful, and so like, when things go down, I'm like, oh, let me get some more money and put in. It's like, but it makes it so much more enjoyable when you are investing.
No, absolutely. And that's kind of, kind of my thing, with DeFi is just, I've been really impressed with where it's going, and just confirmation of that. And I mean, we must be brothers, because I think the same way. Yes, I want the price to go up. Price is important, but in DeFi, I'm in the projects I'm getting involved in, I am bullish on long term. Does that mean that they're going to be guaranteed, going to make me money? Absolutely not. We just talked about Plume. I made a bunch of money, in DeFi on Plume, and I put it in other projects and stuff, diversified with it, bought other new projects like Canton and things like that. But yeah, I mean, there's no guarantee, but if you're always looking for those new projects and you're always taking those profits, those DeFi, that yield, and, buying into other projects, and, buying it, more Bitcoin, buying more ETH, buying some of those blue chips as well, then you're just going to keep growing your portfolio. And over time, you're going to do well, and you're going to have bags of all these different projects. Yes, some of them are going to fail. But even like with trading, if you're right on 70% of them and they do a 4, 5, 6x, it's going to make up for the ones that you lost on, depending on how much you have in them. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I look at it. It's more of a marathon than a sprint in DeFi. So I have my locks. I'm stacking Arrow because I see what, the relationship with Coinbase. I look at fundamentals. I don't just focus on price, because price is emotional. It's going to trigger your emotions. It's going to make you sell too soon, or sell too soon and buy way too early. You're going to end up buying the tops, selling the bottoms, and losing money being other people's exit liquidity. So me personally, I look at fundamentals, because we're going into that utility market. How does me holding this token, David talks about this, how does me holding this token, how does the value or the profits that this project make, how does that make its way into the token price? Because if it makes its way in the token price and I'm a holder or I'm in DeFi, I'm going to profit. So you need to understand these projects at a deep level. And I don't mean watch a bunch of social media clips or watch, influencers, even us. I mean, you need to dive into and really understand your own investments. Do your own research. Use AI if you want to help speed the process, but read the literature, read the documentation, and understand, because XRP is a perfect example. I see people saying the same things about XRP, and they're sound bites that I've heard thousands and thousands of times about, why supposedly XRP is going to go to $100. And a lot of them had to do with a misunderstanding of how all of it works. So anyway, all right, I guess we can cut this off. We've gone for about an hour and a half.
Real quick, I wanted to piggyback off that real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
DeFi is one of the best ways to limit the losses when the market goes down. Because if you're in liquidity pools, it's you're not going to take as big of a hit as you would if you were just all in that one asset. So, start getting involved in more DeFi stuff, and especially full range pools. I mean, I can't tell you how much that full range Black USDC pool saved my ass when it dropped, the past 6 months. So pick good projects, good fundamentals, and good liquidity pools, and jump in our Discord. We got a lot of people sharing a lot of good stuff, updates on when they don't see good value in the pools anymore. So, or hot liquidity pools that are coming up, and especially Myke with the CC token, that was a huge find, which we'll talk more about on Tuesday. But yeah, DeFi can help really save your bags when the market takes a downturn, and it's super underrated. So check that out. And real quick, I wanted to share this. I saw this
Bitcoin miner hot water heater.
Yeah, hot water heater, both radiant floor heating and domestic hot water. So you're using wasted electricity to mine Bitcoin, but also heat things in your house. So real world utility use case, and capturing that value that would normally be wasted. And yeah, so
those of you that don't know, miners, they run, because they're processing so much, they put off a lot of heat. And so usually people have to air condition them. They got to do a bunch of, different stuff to, make sure that they don't burn up. So basically what this company did is they turned it into a hot water heater. Genius. So basically you're getting paid to heat your water. So real quick,
the value in Bitcoin, man.
Yeah. So, hey, Gina, if you have any questions about XRP, I can definitely give you some very, very granular data on XRP. I've done research on XRP for 4 or 5 years. So yeah, I can definitely help you out. I know that you hold some of it, but you might not feel the same after you hear what I have to say. But anyway, want to get a shout out the arena, the chat. Appreciate you all for showing up, and the YouTube and X, everybody on YouTube and X. We are going to be somewhat migrating to our DeFi Crypto and Airdrops channel on YouTube. We're going to be trying to centralize our viewers more, instead of streaming to like 3 or 4 different YouTube channels. We're going to get down to one channel. So keep an eye out for that. Make sure you're following us. And do you have anything last thing to say, Jeff Taylor?
Nothing else.
No,
Jeff?
and on that, the updates, jump on our Discord, follow us on Twitter, because those will be the 2 places that we'll be sharing that out to. So if you want to stay up on the latest, get in there. All the links are in the description below. And yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go get
these 2 guys. They're always have a great project. I mean, you guys are always finding like gold.
Well, I know that you made, even though Plume went down, I know you made a ton of money because you made a ton of money and then you sold.
I tripled my money DeFiing it.
Yeah.
Even though it tanked, it was like I took all the profits out and and put it other places, but it just that DeFi pool when it was first coming out was just unbelievable.
And it could do that again. No guarantee, but I mean, it could do that again. It just needs, the volume. But well, we appreciate y'all, and hope you all have a nice weekend. And we'll see you on Monday for the Money Talk Show with Taylor and Texas Jeff. Till next time, Veteran Crypto out.